Very good morning, dear children. In last session, we studied second lesson India before the times of Shivaji Maharaj. In that, we completed only half of the lesson. In that, we studied about the regional powers before the times of Shivaji Maharaj, different dynasties like Pal dynasty, Rajput dynasty, Chauhan dynasty, Chola, Hoysal, Rashtrakuta, Shilahar, Yadavas dynasty, and also invasions from the northwest. And even we studied about the kingdom of the Vijayanagar, Krishnadevarai, and Bahamani kingdom, and we also studied about Mahmud Gawan. Now, today we are going to study about Mughal power. In 1526 CE, the Sultanate of Delhi came to an end and Mughal power was established there. Babur was the founder of Mughal power and he was the king of Fargana in Central Asia in today's Uzbekistan. He had heard of the wealth in India, so he planned an invasion of India. Even during that time also India was a very rich country. So when he heard about the wealth of India, he planned to invade India. The reigning Sultan of Delhi at that time was Ibrahim Lodi. Daulat Khan Lodi was the governor of Punjab under the Sultanate. But the relationship between Ibrahim Lodi and Daulat Khan Lodi was not good. It means their relationship was not friendly. Daulat Khan Lodi invited Babur to march on India. For taking revenge, Daulat Khan Lodi invited Babur to march against India. Taking this opportunity, Babur invaded India. To repel Babur's invasion, Ibrahim Lodi started with his army. There was a battle between Ibrahim Lodi and Babur on 21st April 1526 at Panipat. In this battle, Babur made use of an artillery very effectively for the first time in India. And in that battle, Babur made use of his artillery. Artillery means the large heavy guns that move on wheels that he used first time in India. He defeated Ibrahim Lodi's army. Due to his powerful army and artillery, he defeated Ibrahim Lodi. This is known as the First Battle of Panipat. After the battle of Panipat, Rana Sanga of Mewar brought all Rajput kings together. After this battle, Rana Sanga, he was the king of Mewar. He brought all Rajput kings together. And there was a battle between Babur and Rana Sanga at Kanua. Babur's artillery and reserve force played a key role in this battle and Rana Sanga's army was defeated because he was having a powerful army and artillery. Due to that, he defeated Rana Sanga's army. Babur died in 1530 CE. After Babur, Humayun ascended the throne. He was defeated by Sher Shah. Sher Shah established the Sur dynasty on the throne of Delhi. After Humayun, Akbar ascended the throne. There was a battle between Akbar and Hemu at Panipat in 1556 CE. This is the second battle of Panipat. Akbar's ambition was to bring the whole of India under his one central authority. After Akbar, Jahangir became the emperor. During his reign, his wife Nur Jahan played a very active role in the administration. Jahangir was followed by Shah Jahan as the emperor. The next emperor after Shah Jahan, Aurangzeb, reigned for a very long time. After his death, the Mughal Empire became weak. Akbar was the most powerful king of Mughal dynasty. When he tried to bring India under his central authority, he had to face opposition. Akbar, he was the most powerful and ambitious king of Mughal dynasty, and his ambition was to bring India under his central authority. But he has to face many opposition. Maharana Pratap, Chand Bibi, Rani Durgavati struggle against him. Their struggle is noteworthy. Maharana Pratap. After the death of Uday Singh, Maharana Pratap ascended the throne of Mewar. He continued the struggle for Mewar's existence till the very end. After the death of Uday Singh, he was the father of Maharana Pratap. After his death, his son Maharana Pratap, he became the king of the Mewar, and he continued the struggle for Mewar's existence till the very end. He struggled with Akbar to maintain his independence. He has become immortal in history due to his qualities of valor, courage, self-respect, sacrifice, etc. And Maharana Pratap was a very brave and courageous king, and even today also we are remembering him with a great respect due to his qualities of valor, courage, self-respect and sacrifice. Chand Bibi. The Mughals attacked Ahmednagar, the capital of Nizam Shah's kingdom, in 1595 CE. The Mughal army put the fort of Ahmednagar under siege. Chand Bibi, the capable daughter of Hussain Nizam Shah of Ahmednagar, bravely defended the fort. At this time, there was an internal strife among the factions of the Sardar in Nizam Shahi's kingdom. When Mughal army attacked on Ahmednagar, that time Chand Bibi, she was the daughter of Hussain Nizam Shah, very bravely she defended the fort. But during that time there was internal conflicts among the Sardars of the Nizam Shahi kingdom, and it resulted in the murder of Chand Bibi. Afterwards, Mughals captured Ahmednagar fort, but Mughals could not bring the entire kingdom of Nizam Shahi under their control. Rani Durgavati. Gondwana can broadly be said to comprise the eastern part of Vidarbha, part of Madhya Pradesh to its north, the western part of today's Chhattisgarh, northern part of Andhra Pradesh, and western part of Odisha. Durgavati, born in dynasty Chandal Rajput, became the queen of Gondwana when she was married. Rani Durgavati, she was a very brave queen, and she born in Chandal dynasty, which was from the Rajput family, and after marriage she became the queen of Gondwana. She was an excellent administrator, and the struggle of Gondwana Queen Durgavati against the Mughal, it is very important in medieval history. After her husband's death, Durgavati laid down her life while fighting against Akbar, but she did not surrender. Durgavati was a very brave queen, and when her husband died in the battle, after his death, she also came to fight with Akbar, and she laid down her life while fighting with him, but she did not surrender. So this way Durgavati, it shows that Durgavati was a very brave queen. Akbar was well versed and vigilant ruler. His religious policy was liberal and tolerant. Akbar was a very brave and courageous ruler, and he was well versed and vigilant. Vigilant means very careful ruler. His religious policy was liberal and tolerant. It means his religious policy was open to all new ideas. He was giving equal treatment to all religions. He founded Deen-e-Ilahi by incorporating noble principles from all religions, but never compelled anyone to adopt Deen-e-Ilahi. Akbar founded Deen-e-Ilahi religion, and by including whatever from all religions, which are the noble principles from all religions, he is taken, and he founded a new religion, that was Deen-e-Ilahi. but he never compelled anyone to adopt Deen-e-Ilahi. In detail about Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb won the war of succession amongst other sons of Shah Jahan and became the emperor by detaining his father in 1658 CE. Dara Shikoh, the elder son of Shah Jahan, was famous for religious tolerance. He translated more than 50 Upanishads in Persian language when Aurangzeb became the emperor. At that time, the Mughal Empire extended from Kashmir in the north up to Ahmednagar in the south and from Kabul in the west up to Bengal in the east. Here it shows that Aurangzeb, he was a very brave ruler, and he became emperor by detaining his father in the year 1658. And the elder son of Shah Jahan was famous for the religious tolerant, and he translated near about more than 50 Upanishads in the Persian language when Aurangzeb became the emperor. That time Mughal Empire extended from Kashmir up to the north to Ahmednagar in south and Kabul in the west up to Bengal in the east. To this, Aurangzeb added Assam in the east and the regions of Adil Shahi of Bijapur in the south and Qutub Shahi of Golconda after he ended their kingdoms. Study about the conflict with the Ahams. In the 13th century CE, the people of the Shan community settled down in the valley of river Brahmaputra. They established their kingdom there. They were locally known as Aham people, means the people, those who settled down in the valley of river Brahmaputra and established their kingdom, they were known as the Ahom people. While Aurangzeb ruled, the Ahoms had a prolonged struggle with the Mughals. The Mughal attacked the Ahams region, and the Ahams, united under the leadership of Gadadhar Sinha commander Lachit Borphukan, gave an intense battle against the Mughal. When the Mughal attacked Ahom region, that time these Aham people, they united under the leadership of Gadadhar Sinha commander Lachit Borphukan, gave a very tough battle against Mughal. The Ahams used the guerrilla technique in the conflict against the Mughals. During that time, these Aham people, they used guerrilla technique. The guerrilla technique means small military group which make surprise attack on enemies. It became impossible for Mughals to create a strong Assam. Due to their courage, it became very impossible for the Mughals to create a strong base in Assam. In detail about the conflict with the Sikhs. The ninth Guru of the Sikh, Guru Tegh Bahadur, protested strongly against Aurangzeb's policy of religious intolerance. Aurangzeb imprisoned him and beheaded him in 1675 CE. So that time he opposed the policy of Aurangzeb, intolerance policy, religious policy of Aurangzeb. So because of that, Aurangzeb imprisoned him, he put him in the prison, and he beheaded, he cut off his head in 1675. After him, Guru Govind Singh became the Guru of the Sikh. Guru Govind Singh organized his followers and encouraged their martial spirit. He organized the Sikh youth into fighting force called Khalsa Dal. Their headquarters were at Anandpur. Aurangzeb sent his army to fight the Sikh. His army attacked Anandpur. Although the Sikh fought fiercely, they did not succeed. Sikhs were very brave and they gave a very tough fight with Aurangzeb, but even though they did not get success. After that, Guru Gobind Singh came to the Deccan in 1708 CE. There was an attempt on his life when he was at Nanded. Soon after, the Guru succumbed in his wounds. So, after that, Guru succumbed, it means he stopped fighting against them, and due to his wounds, he was very badly wounded, and because of that, he stopped fighting. Conflict with the Rajputs. Akbar had secured the cooperation of the Rajputs with his policy of amicable relations. Akbar got the cooperation of Rajput families because of his friendly relations. Aurangzeb could not obtain the cooperation of Rajputs. After the death of Rana Jaswant Singh of Marwar, Aurangzeb annexed his kingdom to the Mughal Empire. Durgadas Rathod crowned Jaswant Singh, minor son Ajit Singh, as the king of Marwar. Durgadas Rathod fought hard against the Mughals. Aurangzeb sent Prince Akbar to Marwar to crush the resistance of Durgadas. Prince Akbar joined hands with Rajputs and revolt against Aurangzeb. But just opposite of that, Prince Akbar, what he did, he joined hands with Rajput and he revolted against Aurangzeb. An effort was made to seek help from the Marathas in Maharashtra. In this revolt, Durgadas Rathod continued the struggle against the Mughals for the existence of Marwar. Now we'll study about the conflict with the Marathas. In Maharashtra, Swaraj was established under the leadership of Shivaji Maharaj. In his efforts to establish Swaraj, Shivaji Maharaj had to fight the Mughals too, along with the other enemies. Aurangzeb came down to the Deccan after the death of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj with the intention of conquering the whole of South India, because till when Shivaji Maharaj was alive, till that time he was not having that much guts to conquer the South India. So when he heard the news of Shivaji Maharaj's death, after that, by the intention of conquering the whole of the South India, he came down. But the Marathas offered stiff resistance to Aurangzeb and defended their independence. But even though Shivaji Maharaj was not there, but Marathas, they gave firm fighting to Aurangzeb and defended their independence. We shall study this struggle later on. So children, this way, see in this lesson, now today we studied about the Mughal power, about Babur, Maharana Pratap, Chand Bibi, Rani Durgavati, Aurangzeb, Akbar, conflict with the Ahoms, conflict with the Sikhs, the ninth Guru of Sikh, Guru Tegh Bahadur, and all. About their Khalsa Dal, then conflict with the Rajputs, how Durgadas Rathod gave a tough fight to the Aurangzeb, and also about the conflict with the Marathas, how after the death of Shivaji Maharaj, Aurangzeb came down to the Deccan for conquering the South India, but Marathas gave a stiff resistance and they defended their independence. So this way we completed our second lesson, India before the times of Shivaji Maharaj. I hope you all understood the lesson. Okay, thank you children.